Souvenirs. When you travel, you both take them and you leave them. I think about this as I sit on my deck at home scraping Costa Rican mud off my boots. Who knows what's in this stuff? Maybe anteater scat, or some seeds dropped from the bill of a three-wattled bellbird that will plant themselves in my garden, thrive, and, oh dear, perhaps even eat my cat. I took a hike through Costa Rica's Monteverde cloud forest with Danilo Wallace, a park ranger born and raised in what is now one of the world's foremost rainforest preserves.
Growing up as a child, the difference would be maybe my first toucan I ever saw was through a slingshot. We would kill them, cut off their beak, make a necklace. So a lot of guides, park rangers are maybe ex-poachers, viewed it differently based on the way our parents would look at the forest, which would be something you would use. You'd go in to get lumber or hunt mammals. Now we can't afford to do that anymore. There's very limited space, and we need to protect those areas.
Danilo showed me and a few other oohing and awing trekkers a plant thing that grows in the forest canopy, an epiphyte it is called, on which seemed to reside a botanical United Nations.
We have parts of Death Valley in Monteverde, parts of Sahara Desert, Chile, Argentina. There are windstorms, sandstorms, particles float around the globe, filter down, are caught in these epiphytic mats.
Yes, it is a small world. The Monteverde cloud forest, this protected environment up in the cool mountains of Costa Rica, above the steamy tropical jungles, above the beaches where real estate agents swarm like killer bees flogging raw land and condos, above the coffee plantations that grow beans of Middle Eastern origin because the local variety, despite the publicity given Costa Rican coffee, is honestly not very good. Above the airstrips from which now Fox News correspondent Ollie North ran his Iran-Contra gun-running scheme in the 80s. Above this fray, up a really awful rocky muddy road, there should be a biological Walden, right? But no, all of these lovely impatiens you see lining the footpaths don't come from here either. They're originally from East Africa. And, according to a study recently published in the journal Nature, it is not only winds and birds and stuff tracked in by people. Climate change is having its effect, too.
Probably the most threatened groups are the amphibians, and 41% of all our species have disappeared in less than 20 years. And, of course, this is happening worldwide, and they are an indicator species, so one of the most sensitive organisms, and it's actually very frightening that a group that has been around maybe for millions of years, maybe one of the first groups to break away from water, reach land, are disappearing in a matter of years. Very frightening.
Danilo told us about the golden toad.
But this species was found only along the Continental Divide in Monteverde. And in 1987, 1,500 were counted at these small pools, water which would collect at the base of the roots of trees in the elfin forest. In 1988, in the same pool, only one male was located. In 1989, again, that same male reappeared, and that was the last we ever saw of that species.
Caused by a virus, says the study, that a changing climate may have allowed to flourish. You wouldn't know this backstory if you took a walk in this forest, however. The Quakers who settled here in the 1950s to escape the Cold War mentality of the United States are growing back quite well, and there are still primary rainforests here, hosting at least 420 species of orchids and 400 breeds of birds, including the rare resplendent quetzal. The adjective is in the name of the bird. I did not add it, but it fits this long-feathered jungle dandy, idolized by the Mayas, perfectly. We saw a quetzal, but birdwatchers who come from all over the world for the experience often aren't so lucky. And although there are quite a number of tourists here, they're only brought in a few at a time and limited to trails. Monteverde is also rather difficult to get to.
Ecotourism has really boomed in Monteverde in, say, the last 10, 15 years, and would grow even more if the road wasn't such in a bad condition. So for us, it's actually a benefit to have the road, a gravel road, where it requires a lot of time to get here. If it was paved, we would be swamped with visitors. There'd be no infrastructure. People would be dumping their waste, their garbage in the streams, rivers. So we're fortunate to have that access sort of limited.
Like most rainforests, you don't often see very much during the day, aside from the coatimundis, often like raccoons raiding garbage cans, or hummingbirds, more than 50 different colors and sheens. Or howler monkeys, the second loudest mammal on Earth next to the blue whale. One piece of advice, don't walk under howler monkeys. Their sense of humor is, shall we say, scatological. To really see the forest for the trees, you have to go out at night with a flashlight. And don't touch any of those colorful frogs. Like dangerous women of the night, more makeup often means poison. In all honesty, this biological mosh pit has always been with us. Winds have always blown across oceans, and as the old Gershwin song goes, fish gotta swim and birds gotta fly. But cars don't gotta pollute, and factories don't gotta spew. Those are within our control. The frogs and toads and other creatures of the night are sounding the alarm. This is Russ Johnson.